Welcome back to part 2 of the Chute Blocker video. Last time we made this chute blocker. This time we're going to make a device to open it on the go. With the opener, you'll be able to open it, lock it in place, and close it. So here's what we'll build. It needs 2 rods, 2 bolts for opening and closing, 2 brackets to hold it in place, and a nice cushy handle. Let's build it. One thing I learned whenever coming up with this design is how expensive pipe can be. But you don't need to just buy pipe. You can buy a rake. The poles are made of metal and they come with a nice end. Just simply take the end of the rake off. Now that you just have the rake pole, you need to make your first cut. This first cut will be for the pole that locks into place. I simply just clamp it down, measure twice, and start cutting. Manual tools? No thanks. Power tools. Yes, please. This rake happened to have a nice plug at the end that we'll use later. Now that the end's out of it and we've got it cut, we need to mark where we're going to have the notch to lock it in place when it's open or closed. Once we have it marked, just cut it out with a jigsaw or whatever tool you have handy. Snip off the excess and clean up the notch as best you can. Now we need an L bracket to attach this to the mower. This one was a little long, so I had to cut it. Just to make everything look nice and tidy, I smoothed out the pointy edges of the L bracket with my bench grinder. While you're at it, you might as well cut the piece that's going to connect the arm to raise and lower. It's just a straight piece of metal with 2 holes in it. And you know what? Let's pretty this piece up too. Round off those edges, make it look nice and smooth. Now I took all my parts and bolts and sprayed them black. I thought this was a nice touch as it made it look a little bit more professional. Now we're ready to attach the L bracket to the pipe that has the notch in it. Now that you've got it marked, just drill the holes to the correct size to fit the bolts you're going to use. Now that you've got your holes drilled, go ahead and attach the L bracket to the pipe with the notch. Now we're ready to attach it. There's a little nut that you need to undo so you can put it in your L bracket and then place the nut back in place. Now make sure the pipe is straight. As you can see here, this little bolt came through and I had to drill an extra hole. It actually adds some stabilization. Now we need to drill 2 holes for the opening and closing bolts. While we're at it, let's go ahead and cut the pipe to length. Now we can simply put our opening and closing bolts in their proper holes. The little 2-hole bracket that you made will have to go on your eye hook. For me, I was able to just use that plug that came with the rake. Drilled a hole in it, and then tightened it down with a socket. Now just press the end back into the bottom of your handle. Okay, now we're ready to place the arm on the mower. On the back side of the chute, the nut that's on there should have enough threads left over for you to place the bracket and an extra nut on top. Simply put it in place and tighten it down. And that's all it takes. Now I need to attach the screw that holds the plug in place for the opening and closing rod. Now let's test it out. There's open, and here's closed. Looks like I might need to make a little bit of adjustment to where the bolt attaches. So I just take my Dremel and make this area a little bit wider. Now to make this look a little bit cleaner, I just take some electrical tape and wrap it around the top of the pole. Tuck it in nicely so it makes for a nice, clean look. It also helps prevent the bolt from rattling around. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that works a lot better. And with that tape on there, it feels great. Here's another view. Perfect. Honestly, I'm really pleased with the fact that this was just from a broom handle. Let's give it a try on the land. Whee! Open. Whee! Close. Open. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, run, bike, mow, and just have fun.